Hey guys, welcome to this video. Chances are high that you are watching this video on internet using a web browser. Now, we all know how super easy it is to use a web browser in order to access the internet. But have you ever wondered what goes behind the scenes while you are using a web browser for accessing the internet? In this video series, we are going to learn how our browser actually works. What are the various tasks that it performs behind the scene? So let's start the first video of this series, the browser's job part 1. In this video, we are seeking answer to a question, how does a browser work? Before going into that, let us first see what are the tasks for a browser to perform. So there are basically four tasks. The first one of them is to locate the location of the required resource on the internet. Next is to fetch or download the required files from the located resource. Then to process all the downloaded files and generate the user-friendly results which will be displayed on the screen. And finally, to listen any user event and execute any specified action. And these four tasks are performed by the browser in the same manner. In this video, we are going to focus on the first task, that is, how does a browser locate a resource on the internet? Before answering this question, guys, let us try to answer a common question. What is internet? Now, internet is a network of various connected computers across the world. Every computer that gets connected to this network becomes a part of the network itself. There are few big computers out there which holds various files for the purpose of sharing them to the world, and these big computers are known as servers. So these are the locations, or these are the resources which are holding the files that we seek on our browser. Every file, every video, every page that you see on the browser, it's somewhere kept on these servers. So in order to get the resource or to get the file, the first thing the browser needs to do is to locate the server that is holding that file. Now, every server on the internet can be identified using a unique set of digits called its IP address. That is, every server has a unique IP address. But this does not mean that every computer on the internet can be uniquely identified using an IP address. Probably your computer and your friend's computer, which are connected to a common network, share a common IP address. But when we talk of servers which are meant to share the files to the world, their IP address is constant, or in other words, it made to remain constant. Now, these servers are distributed and managed via a system called domain name system. So this domain name system is the key factor for your browser to locate a server or to identify the IP address of a server on internet. Now, this entire process of finding out the IP address is known as DNS resolution, and this starts right from your browser when the user types in the URL. So let's assume that the user has typed in a URL www.thisvideo.com. Now, the first thing that your browser needs to do, or the first thing that it does, is it looks for this URL and try to map it against an IP address. Now, guys, as a user, as a human, we might have an idea what thisvideo.com means. But as a system, our browser or the internet does not really know what this video means. So it has to be mapped against an IP address or against a server which can provide some information about thisvideo.com. So the first thing that the browser does is browser looks up for the IP address of this URL in its own assigned DNS server. Now let us see what is the browser's own assigned DNS server. Every browser by default knows of one DNS server to request for every incoming URL. Now, this server is provided to the browser by the ISP, or the Internet Service Provider, to which the browser is currently connected. Now, the same DNS server can be shared across multiple browsers. Probably, again, your and your friend's computer is connected to a common network, so they might be sharing a common DNS server. And the important thing to note is this server is not a fixed one or a constant one. It can change over the time, but any change is automatically registered with the browser. So your browser always know what is the DNS server that it needs to look up when a user enters a URL in the browser. So now this browser DNS can return an IP address to the browser against this video.com, or it might not return. So we'll see in which cases can it return the IP address and in which cases it can't. But for now, let us assume that browsers DNS do not have any idea about this video.com and it is unable to return the IP address. So what happens next? The browser DNS now request this URL to the root servers. So basically now browser DNS itself is making a request to the root servers. Let us take a minute and see what are root servers. Guys, root servers are a set of 13 servers maintained across the world by internet corporations for assigned names and numbers. Now, this is an international organization which looks after the functioning of internet. So these servers are spread across USA, Sweden, Japan, and UK and are backed up by multiple subsidiary servers across the world. So these subsidiary servers are located across almost every country of the world. Now these are the first step in determining the address of your requested URL and they contain the data about top global domains of the world. Let us first see what these servers are. So as you can see on the screen, this is the list of 13 root servers, 13 root main servers of the world which contains all the data about the internet. So in any event, if these servers go down, there is a full stop to the internet. So here you can see these servers has been named from A to M sequentially, and also you can see which is the organization that manages each one of them. If you are interested to know more about these servers, you can always go ahead and look at their official website, that is www.rootservers.org. Now guys, we talked about top global domains of the world. What does top global domain means? Now, whenever you enter a URL, there is a part after the last dot, right? For example, in our URL thisvideo.com, there was a part com after the last dot. Now this thing is known as the top global domain. Every browser can be put into one category based on its top global domain. For example, you might already be aware of various top global domains or TLDs like .in, .org, .biz, .gov, or many more. As of now, there are more than 1,000 TLDs worldwide. So these TLDs are going to increase in future, of course, and anyone can register a new TLD if he or she wishes, but it takes a rigorous process with ICANN, which is the Organization for Internet Corporation of Assigned Numbers and Names. Now, this root servers can return a authoritative server or it can return an invalid TLD code based on what is the request made to it. Suppose if you made a request like this video dot abc or something like something with a TLD which is not yet registered with the internet. In that case, the root server returns an invalid TLD code errors. So that is the case you sometimes see on your browser a message which says the DNS server could not be identified or the resource could not be located. So in this case, the root servers has given an invalid TLD code address, which means that the URL that you have entered is not a correct one, is not registered with the internet yet. But if you have registered or if you have entered a valid URL like this video.com, so root server will return an authoritative server which contains a list of the .com TLDs, right? So it returns a set of servers which contains all the data about .com. So basically this is the first label filtering on the internet. Apart from all the resources on the internet, you have been returned only those which contains .com TLDs. Now these authoritative name servers can again return your browser to name servers. Now this is a kind of recursive process which keeps on going from one server to another until the exact server containing the URL that you are looking for is found, and finally the exact IP address of that server is obtained and returned to the browser. So this is the whole process which takes place whenever you enter a URL on your browser. Now there is another important aspect to this process. Every data on every level is being cached. So right from your browser to your DNS browser to the root server, the data is being cached at each level. So next time you enter this video.com on your browser might already be knowing the IP address. Or if your browser does not know the IP address, maybe it is being cached at the browser's DNS. So this was the case which I discussed earlier, that your browser's DNS can return the IP address. So if there's a URL which has already been accessed once on your machine or maybe on your friend's machine, because both of your machines are connected to a common network or to a common DNS server. So the DNS server knows what is the IP address of the URL because one of your friends has already accessed it and the DNS server already has it. So it can be returned from the browser's DNS as well. So the whole cycle stops at the first level, that is at the DNS browser. Right, guys? So this is how your browser comes to know about the IP address of the required resource or the IP address of the URL that you asked your browser for. Now that your browser knows the IP address of the server, it can make a request to obtain the files or to download the files from that server. But we are not going to discuss all that details in this video. This video ends here. We have the IP address, and in our next video we'll see what happens with this IP address. What does the browser do with the IP address, and how does it downloads all the file and then processes them in order to display you the exact behavior that you want to see. So guys, I hope you like this video, and if you are interested to watch the second part, please like the video, do subscribe for our channel, and I'll see you in the next part.